next. Thank you very much.
I'm going to talk about one more handbook that deserves its own clarification, and that's consumer resources. Like Lane said, these items are focused with a particular audience in mind, and in this case, the audience is people who are interested in buying products. Kelley Blue Book is the premier source for car buying information. It's available in print and online, and the KBB conducts in-house research on new and used cars. The research includes hard-to-find information on invoice and dealer costs, reliability evaluations, and feature comparisons. Now, while the print version is more easily browsable, the online version has an intuitive search feature that gives quick access to their vehicle reports. KBB has also integrated Web 2.0 tools like car forums, user reviews, and online classifieds into the site to keep it a dynamic and up-to-date source of information. One other consumer resource, the Consumer Reports, is also available in print and online. However, with the online version, content is abridged unless you pay a subscription fee. When compared to KBB, one has to keep in mind that Consumer Reports focuses on many more products, not just cars. They also do produce their own in-house research on pricing and reliability of a huge amount of household appliances, electronics, and more. Together, these two resources combine to inform consumers about the products that they're interested in buying by providing information that would be difficult to obtain in such quantities and such distillation anywhere else. So, moving on from handbooks, I'm also going to talk about calendars, chronologies, and timetables. These are generally historical resources that provide quick access to important names, dates, and events in history. And like already referenced resources, one should pay attention to the authority of the source and the accuracy of the information. The first two examples that I have are print resources. Chase's Calendar of Events is an annual publication that gives a day-to-day breakdown of birth dates, death dates, holidays, and random facts. You can see from this clipping of a page covering January 1st and January 2nd, there's a brief biography of Isaac Asimov, who was born on January 2nd, 1920, along with a listing of other famous people who were born or died on that date. As you go through the publication, it just gives this day-to-day breakdown for every day of the year. Another print resource that's readily available at public libraries is the Timetables of History by Bernard Grun. This resource is updated every 5 to 10 years, and it features timetables covering major historical events from the beginning of the universe right up until 2005. On this text example, you can see across the top there are, well, this side you can only see 3, but there are 7 different subject categories on each page. And then running down the side are the decades or eras or millennia, and the facts for each millennia within the subject areas go throughout the book. When you compare these two resources, you have to keep in mind that Chase's and Timetables are very different in focus. Chase's purely lists facts from one given year at a time. It's only been published since 1957, so its historical coverage only goes so far. It's a great resource for teachers and bloggers who need topical things to write about or talk about every day of the year. Timetables is, the subtitle of it is a horizontal linkage of people and events. So it presents this information in a creative way that encourages this new look at the relationships between events in history. Both resources do utilize indexes, so you don't have to browse through them. You can search for the specific facts and information that you're looking for. In this category of calendars and chronologies, online resources have the advantage of being more current, and they're accessible from outside the library. The 3 examples that I'm going to share with you today are free to access, and their resources come from pretty reliable institutions. This Day in History is put out by the History Channel. It compiles historical facts, resources, videos, and audio in a very creative and visual layout. Its high-interest content is great for students and children. There are a few ads, but they don't really distract from the incredible amount of content. Today in History is put out by the Library of Congress. When you visit the website, you can find images, literary resources, and facts about the day that you are visiting. You can also browse through other dates as you desire. Subject headings within each day's entries are hyperlinked directly into the LOC catalog for quick access of the original documents. A very similar resource is called On This Day, and this comes from the New York Times. Very similar to the LOC site, subject headings are hyperlinked to full-text articles that were published by the New York Times or the Associated Press. Between these three, the main difference is the source of the content. It's important to note that This Day in History does have an astounding amount of multimedia content not available on the other sites. So it does have that kind of higher interest appeal, but those primary resources that are available in Library of Congress and the New York Times articles are also very useful. I also have a quick question just to test your knowledge, and this goes back to the print resources I talked about. If you were asked by a patron for information on cultural events happening in Africa during the 1600s, which resource would best be used to find the information? And you can check either A or B, the Chase's Calendar of Events or the Timetables of History. And I will close the polling and display the results, and you all did an excellent job. Timetables of History is that resource that covers this greater breadth of historical knowledge from the beginning of time through the present. I do also have a list of, no, there's your answer. I do have a list of references if you want to check any of these out, and I will hand it over to Annie, who's going to finish it up for us.